Today what I want to talk about in this video is not being satisfied with your PC hardware. This is a thing that I know a lot of people struggle with, and especially that I've gotten questions about multiple times. So let's go into an example of this. There's a lot of people that I know who have built, or not built, but bought PCs that say gaming PCs, and then they ask me why they're not getting the performance of videos that they look at online. For an example, there was somebody who sat here and on my Final Fantasy 15 video watched it and then commented and said, how comes I'm not getting 100 FPS or like 80 FPS like you are at 1440p settings? And then when I asked him what his specs were, his computer specs were, he sent me the list, and it was pretty underwhelming to say the least. It was like an i5 2400U or something like that, and it was a 1060 only 3GB version, and I was like, bro, you're not going to be able to hit these settings at this. That is an example of not being satisfied with your hardware. Now let's take a look at why this happened. When I asked the guy why this happened, he essentially said it was a pre-built. I said, okay, well, did you do the research on the parts? He was essentially like, no, I just assumed that since it was a gaming PC, it would be able to handle high settings or ultra settings on any type of game that I throw at it. So here's the biggest thing when it comes to this. If you're not satisfied with your hardware, always remember you can return it usually within 30 days of purchasing it from the place that you bought it from. And if you bought it from a retailer such as like Best Buy or Walmart, go ahead and tell them, you know, they usually take it back within 15 days, and go ahead and let them know and say it's just not working the proper way how you thought it would. And go ahead and get that return to get your money back, because you can invest that into a better hardware for your PC, or essentially build your own and get a better version of it for around the same amount of money. There are so many people that I know that have went and bought like, you know, PCs or built PCs and not enjoyed the performance and just let it fucking stay there, when you have the ability to go and return the part that you don't like to then save up money from that returned part to get a better part. And this is a very good example. There are a lot of people that I have seen and talked to who are not satisfied with the FPS or hardware that they get from their PC. It's not running at above 60 FPS. It's not doing what they want it to. When questioned and asked about it, it's either I bought it from a retailer type thing, or a friend chose out the parts for me. So that is a big giant problem right there, because number one, if somebody chose the parts for you and didn't ask what you were going to do with the PC, they're going to go with what they think of a PC should be. For an example, if you ask me, hey, what should I do with a PC, or like, do you want to help me build a PC, or what parts should I get? The first thing I'm going to ask you is, what are you going to be doing with this PC? And that's what I'm going to be asking you. Are you going to be doing more gaming? Are you going to be doing more editing? Are you going to be doing more workflow, such as like photoshopping? Are you going to be doing web design? What are you going to be doing with this PC? Because from then you pick the parts. That's how it works. That's what it comes down to. You see what I mean? And there are a lot of people who I know and seen who are not satisfied with the FPS or what they're getting of their PC. They're not getting what they want or expected. And I'm here to tell you, if you bought a part or you bought a PC and you're not getting the performance you want, don't hang on to that item. Return it, get your money back, and save money to save up to get better hardware to build the PC or buy the PC that you want to. That's how it should be. And a lot of people do not do this. A lot of people just go, fuck it, I wasted money on it, whatever, I'll build a better one eventually. Don't settle for that. Get a return, get that money back, and build the one that you want to build. Because 9 times out of 10, the people who are not satisfied with their PC hardware or what they're getting frame-wise and stuff like that are the people who did not do the returns, are the people who did not take it back and get their money back when they could have, to get a better piece of hardware so that they actually got the stuff that they wanted and was able to do the stuff that they wanted to do. And the number one common mistake that I've heard from people who buy PCs or build PCs is they do not test their PC. What do I mean by test their PC? Well, first of all, before you get a gaming PC or before you buy one, you should already have some sort of game that you bought on the platform to do some gaming to actually test it. I'm not talking about a little tiny game. I'm talking about like something like Far Cry 5 or something like, you know, even Shadow of War or something along those lines, like Final Fantasy 15, Devil May Cry 5, different games like that. So you can play those games, see what FPS you're getting, and see how the optimization is. So even before you get a PC or build a PC or buy a PC, you should have at least one game on there to do testing. Why is this important? This is important because when you get that PC or get that hardware that you want, supposedly think you want, you have a game to test it on. For instance, if I sit here and I get, you know, like a GTX 1060 or 1070 or something like that, right? Just as an example. And it's not performing the way I want it to in Far Cry 5. I know, hey, I can return this back because I'm not satisfied with it and get something that's better and save up to get something that's better, right? Number one. Number two, on top of that, I know just what my hardware is going to be capable of doing using those type of games to play on. Is it lagging? Is it causing problems? Is there scene in or pop in, as some people call it? Are the shadows loading correctly? Is the GPU having an issue performing? Is the CPU lacking than what I would rather want? Different things like this. So make sure you actually have a game to test your hardware on when you get a PC. And just to throw it out here, just because it says gaming PC doesn't actually mean that it's good. Make sure you do a little bit of research behind the processor and actually behind the GPU and see if that's what you want. You can just simply literally Google, like for an example, 2060, right? You could Google 2060 performance and literally go to websites and look up the performance that it should have on the games that you're playing. That's how you'll know if you're going to be satisfied with the hardware that you're getting. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and let me know if you have ever bought a piece of hardware like a graphics card or a power supply or just anything like that that you were disappointed with as far as hardware wise goes. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.